They were great.
Oh, okay.
But, so, am I doing right? Did I do it correctly? Oh, it's not up there still. Okay.
Do you want me to work on that?
It's, all it is the Action Center.
Yeah. If you want to go on with the meeting, I can try to get that.
Oh, okay. Great. All I need is that, that one step to get us to be, okay, thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay.
All right, now you gotta set your own laptop up.
No, mine was just using it because I just did the minutes.
All right, well, let's call the meeting to order. Thanks everyone for attending tonight. Our first item on the agenda is review of the February minutes, which, thank you, Carson, I saw you just sent them a few minutes.
I mistitled them though. It says, I'll fix that, but it's what to say, because I think I called them 250107, I think. I gave them the wrong name.
Did you email them to us, or did you put them in?
I just shared it
Shared them,
through
okay.
the, did it, let's see. Did anybody see it?
I'm looking at it now. Is this the, I know you said you labeled it.
25-0107. It's
And-
incorrectly named.
In the header, it's labeled incorrectly too. Are we
Yes,
we're sure
correct.
these are the right minutes though? These are February?
Yeah, I checked it.
All right. What was the date of our February? Oh, I guess it was also the 4th.
Right.
So I'm gonna change that.
But if Bettina's not seeing it.
Oh, I'm seeing it.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I found it. Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
good.
we're there.
Thank you. Okay, great.
Are you gonna change the title, Rick, or should I do that?
Oh, you can go ahead and do that. That's fine.
What was it? It was 2.
I did, it was 0204 is what it should say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I see. Yep.
I should have put Chris Yon on there, you think, or how does he comes up later, but.
I don't think that was right, that no orders had been received last month, have they?
Oh, I thought it
No, I
was you.
think that's,
This month?
I think that's-
I typed that Rick said that, but maybe.
no, I think that's correct. I think at the
Okay.
time of our meeting, we had 0.
Oh, okay.
We're doing much better now, but we'll
Okay.
get to that.
Okay. I think it called up with you, like 4 or something.
Alright, and I'm down to number 8 now. And I'm gonna make one change. Chris Yon is not a landscape architect, he's an engineer.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure.
You couldn't tell he wasn't a landscape architect by his tree choices?
I don't know, Sally used to say landscape architects don't know anything about trees.
Many of us don't. That's true. There's quite a few different sort of specialties. For that subdivision and land development, I need you guys to refresh my memory. We were not exactly sure what the proper process was. I remember at the end of talking to him. But didn't we actually vote to approve, vote to?
Yeah, with
Send it
the
back.
agreement that the arborvitae would not be planted and would be
Yes.
replaced with something.
So we need to get that motion back in there.
Wait, so you're down farther?
Number 8,
Okay.
so I'm gonna add,
Sorry.
sorry.
No, it's a
I'm
group
sorry,
text.
it's my wife.
Oh, I thought it was a group text.
It is.
Oh. This is when it really stinks to be on an Android. Jeff, Chris Yon asked for the list of approved plans, and I had written down that you were gonna send it to him. Do you know if you did?
I said until that,
Oh, great, thank you.
Box in there.
Great, so that happened, perfect, thank you. Did we have to loop back to the planning commission on that?
No, I
Okay.
believe that they already were through everything except for us.
Right.
Okay.
So our recommendation was the last thing they needed.
Yep.
Okay, I just didn't know if we had to say to them, we made our recommendation.
So I'm adding to the minutes, Shade Tree Commission recommended approval of the plan with the condition that the species proposed be revised as was discussed. I don't recall who made a motion or who seconded, but I'm fairly certain we agreed 5-0.
Yeah. And it was 205 Dudley, not 215, right?
I think so. All right, I don't see anything else that I remember that needs to be changed. Does anybody else? Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the minutes with revisions as we just discussed.
Okay, I'll second that. Oh wait, I should be typing this on my thing. All right.
All right, all in favor? Aye, that's 4. Any opposed? No. All right. Public comment, other than agenda items. We don't have anybody on Zoom. Nobody in the audience tonight either, no public comment. All right, let's get to it.
Okay.
Spring planting, as I said to Carolyn today, we're not exactly at the last minute, but we're at that point where we're suddenly gonna go from, we have plenty of time to, oh my God, we have so much to do. So I will remind everybody, since I messed up the date last time, maybe this isn't a reminder, maybe it's more of a confirmation with everyone, that planting day will be Saturday, April 12th. Is that what
Yes.
everyone has on their calendars?
Yes.
Good.
It says, I don't know that this matters for us. It says on mine it's Passover on April, that's a.
It's a terrible weekend.
Okay.
It's the first weekend of Lower Merion School District spring break. Passover hits part of it, and
There's no other, yeah.
that's when
okay.
PHS is
Yeah.
delivering the trees though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, to give an update on orders, we're doing much better than we were even just a few days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Looked at it.
Today's the 4th. Yesterday morning, I sent out, 2 nights ago, I think, I hit the Facebook groups again, and then yesterday morning I sent out that bulk email that you guys should have received to all the people that had
Yeah.
planted trees previously.
I like
Did
that.
everybody, because I only saw the 5.
I blind copied
You did,
everybody,
okay,
yes.
okay, I was just like, I hope it actually went, okay, good,
Yeah.
That's great.
okay, good.
And that-
Carolyn tells me that Katie Skeen also like picked up the Facebook posts and started recirculating to other groups.
Oh, that was good of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, for her.
So from all of that, we're now up to tentatively 21 trees
Oh,
ordered,
great.
which is great considering at our last meeting, we were at 0. And Christina was our first order on February 5th, which would have been the day after our meeting.
Is this the spreadsheet that's titled tree order confirmed?
No,
Okay.
this is a spreadsheet, so
What hard time finding, okay, so spring.
I always have a hard time finding it too. It's actually request for trees fall 2024.
Right, and then you go into responses, or no, you go into, and then view in sheets? And then
Yes.
you can see it, and then you scroll down to the bottom of that, and after the orange is where, okay. Got it.
Yep, you've got
So
it.
we
I
could just
figured it
change the name of it and it'll be a great document for us to keep using.
Yeah,
Or make another version of it with a new name maybe.
yeah.
What do you think about that, Bettina?
Well,
How would
wasn't
you
the
handle
issue
that?
that we didn't want to change have to change the URL?
Correct.
So we're
Oh,
keeping-
right, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting about that, you're right.
But I think what I should do is make a copy to
Mhm.
keep the fall 24.
Yeah.
And then scrub the fall 24 and
Mhm.
rename it.
Okay, that's a
But
good
it-
idea.
it
And
would
keep the new one,
It would still keep the same URL and
Yeah.
QR code.
yeah, that would be good.
So should I note this in the minutes or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's
I
fine,
don't think so.
okay.
So I'll just
great.
run down the names real quick. Christina, Ingrid Olson, 1134 Montgomery Avenue, and I'll ask too if any of you know any of the
I know
people.
her.
I know, yeah.
Okay, because you gotta scroll all the way to the right in the spreadsheet. You don't have to do it right now, but some people have requested like help with species, help with location.
Mhm,
And if we can split that up and
mhm,
you guys know some people, that'll help.
mhm.
So Ingrid Olson,
She's on my neighborhood change.
Carolyn Blacker, I think that's 86 Windale. I assume
Yep,
you just know
Carolyn.
everyone on Windale.
Yeah. I sent out the neighborhood chain and I got some.
Wait, I see initial here, MW, hello? Is there someone attending the meeting with the initials MW?
I'm sorry.
Am I-
I'm just
Have
looking
you
at
ever
her
seen
face.
this before?
You can just
Like,
put it in if you-
Rick's nodding at him.
What's that?
I didn't say anything.
Hello? What would you do?
Wait, where is this?
Should we wait until they say something maybe?
You can just let them this time.
I did that, I opened up their video. Okay, I guess they'll say something, and they can now, because I turned,
Okay.
the video is on and the mic is on, so they can, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to be sure we accommodated anybody who comes, so, sorry about that. Okay, go.
So Carolyn Blacker from 86 Windale, Catherine Wiley, 1036 Montgomery.
Yeah,
A
Back
friend
here,
of
yep.
yours. Good.
so,
Should I make a note of who's doing what or not?
Not yet.
Okay,
I'm
keep going.
Narbrook Park, Judith Levick. Carrie Spilecki, 15 Shirley. I feel like they have ordered
Oh,
before.
yeah, I'm happy to take her, anybody that nobody else wants.
Okay. The next one, I feel like I need to check in with her. Pamela Kim has planted trees in the past, and she's got a corner lot at the top of Forest, And I feel like last time she ordered like 5 trees, and I was like, are you sure you want 5 trees? And I came up and met her, she's got a big yard, and 5 trees made sense. So this time, she's ordered 7.
Hold it, no. No, do you remember, Rick, like that was, because she ordered 5, but we only planted, we didn't plant 5.
Oh,
We planted 1, maybe we did.
I think we did.
1, 2 in the front, not the full 5, because she backed out of a couple of them. I remember. So I'm shocked, did they die? Should you want me to reach out to her and ask?
Yeah,
Because, remember, she was the one who emailed, she was disappointed about the size of them. Like, a couple of times, because she's like, look at the ones I planted from this company. And I'm like, well, those you paid how much for? And these were
Yeah.
free. But I'm shocked, what did she order that's that large? That 7, like,
she ordered a bunch of different things. She says,
well, you know her, do you know her house, like right on, it was the house that caught, like 10 years ago, there was a fire, so they rebuilt it on Woodbine and Forest.
Woodbine and Forest, and what was
Yeah,
it?
it's up from, it's on a corner property. If you're going up far, if you're
Yeah.
going from Essex up Woodbine, it's on the right-hand side. There's a,
I can't picture it.
yeah, you walked by it a ton
On
of times.
Woodbine or on
It's got a
Forest?
huge hedge all around it, so in the front yard, you can't really, but it's there's a big tree. I mean, yeah, did she reach out to you before ordering them all?
just in the spreadsheet this morning or last
I
night.
mean, it took a lot of convincing to get those initial 5. Okay,
She's a convert.
great, but,
Well, I do, with
But
that
you
number of
remember
trees,
there's-
though, we should,
yeah, see, so we can't plant any over there, there's wires, and then this is the neighbor's property. And we did just plant a big tree right there. And then we planted a smaller one there, and then 2 along the side, which are shaded, so I don't think they're gonna do that well. The ones along the side and the back sheet, there's no room for 7 trees.
I don't know.
I'll
Well,
ask.
if you're volunteering to talk to
I
her,
will,
that's great.
I will. And I'm certainly not going to discourage, I just don't want us to put trees where we,
Yeah, I
might
mean,
not have a chance.
that's a lot of dollars worth of trees, so.
Rick, I'm sorry to just step back. What's the name of the person I said I'd contact?
Carrie Spilecki,
Carrie Spilecki?
yes.
Okay, and she'll be on the spreadsheet, the
Yeah.
contact? Okay.
For some context too, we have provided that many trees to a single homeowner before in a single planting. So
It's not unprecedented.
it's not unprecedented, it's
Was that-
also not typical.
Was that though, I mean, looking back at some of these previous outreach, people used to pay or be asked to
Yeah.
donate $50 for a
Mhm.
tree, so was that at the time, you got those all free?
Yeah. And it was 7 street trees on Essex. You know the house. 2 small dogs. My neighbor on the corner.
Oh, right.
So anyway, either way, yes, that needs to be checked on. Carson's friend Ada Brainsky requesting 2 trees again. I know
Okay.
that she's been one that has fallen through in the past.
Yeah, I'll be the contact with her. I wonder where she's gonna put another tree. We've put at least 4 in there, right?
I don't know.
She's on my list.
One of our hole digging volunteers, Christine Red. Former Mayor Tom Grady.
I can be the Tom Grady contact. Who's Christine Red?
I don't know her more than just one of our hole
She
diggers.
lives in Arbor Park, that backs up on Conway, that part.
Oh, one of those, okay, Christine Red.
Near Conway and Woodbine, is that? Or Price?
I think it's Price.
Price, yeah.
And then I'll reach out to Tom Grady.
Well, did you want to go through the whole list first? And
Oh,
split
right,
it up,
that's,
Rick,
yeah,
or-
whatever, okay.
Well, there's only 2 more left.
Or whoever.
Does anyone know Tracy Dutton or Faith Hornung? Faith, I think, is one of your neighbors, Jim. 302 Grayling. I don't know what block you're on, I don't remember.
I am on that block, but I don't know that
Wait,
name. It's
is
weird.
this,
302?
Warnum?
Yeah,
Huh. That's probably one of the
waiting for
twins.
others to join?
Huh, okay.
Are we
That'll be the
on
twin
Skype?
on the corner, probably.
302 sounds like a corner.
I don't know that person.
Okay.
Are we?
Well, even
Where
better.
is not
Okay.
Skype?
I could be I could reach out to her if you want.
If you've got enough you're doing, I'm sure.
Not necessarily.
I mean, do all of these people need to be contacted or just ones who've asked for help with picking up?
So, the last few plantings, we have not like checked in on everyone.
Mhm.
We let the process play out, and most of the time that works, but you guys know there were some planting day gaffes. And I think
Should I
after the
just fill a
last
hole and
planting,
leave
Oh, I didn't
we
know
said we
that.
were gonna do a better job of checking in with people, so I think we should
Missed that.
reach out and just kind of say, hey, do you want help, do you want a meeting, do you want something?
You did
And-
warn me about that location though. Like, there was a whole meeting about it, right? Like,
Yeah, it was the person that said they didn't want to
Yeah.
water it,
Oh.
and I pushed us forward and said, just get the tree in the ground,
Mm.
and then that didn't work out.
Mm.
And it's a good time for us to bring up watering. Okay, so do we have people assigned to talk to the different people that you just mentioned?
Some of them, so let me see if I can add a column. Alright, I'm gonna add an STC contact column. So Christina, I'm assuming you're good. If you have any questions, we could help you. And you're gonna talk to Ingrid Olson?
Sure, yep. Ingrid and Catherine. Catherine, I kind of, hers is in the backyard too, and I spoke with her about it, but,
Okay, and Carolyn?
yes.
Thank you. All right, did anybody know Judith Levick in Norbrook Park? Did you know her, Bettina?
I don't know her now, but I'm happy to reach out to her.
All right, put Bettina there. Carson was gonna reach out to Harry Spilecki. And Christina, you were gonna take Pam Kim again? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't mind if,
I'm composing it, it's totally up to you.
you start, and if you need me,
Do you want me to CC you on it?
Sure.
Or sure, maybe I'll do that, or let me think about it. I don't want to, we'll talk about it, okay.
okay. Ada,
Is me.
all right. Christine Red.
That's
I can-
me. Oh,
if
you want
I
to,
was
do you
gonna
know,
say-
do you know?
I don't, but if you do, I just was
No.
gonna say, since there's two Norbrook people there. I could-
Oh, okay, that's great, yeah.
All
But
right.
if you know her.
I don't.
Okay.
We'll give
Give
her to
Bettina.
you then,
Yeah.
Bettina. Carson volunteered to talk to Tom.
Yep.
Tracy Dutton or Faith Hornung. I don't mind taking a couple either.
I'm sure Dawn wouldn't mind either.
Oh, yeah, Dawn.
What's
Okay,
that?
we can volunteer. Dawn.
Oh, is she a
Does anyone
deer?
know when she's coming back?
She's just there for the week.
Okay.
Yeah, for spring break, I think.
All right, I am gonna volunteer Dawn then. I also know Rob Schlock
Oh,
claims he's going to order another tree. Last time, this was the person who declined the PA one call checkbox and then
yeah.
never answered, and then
Oh, gosh.
our volunteers accidentally dug the hole anyway because it was the next door neighboring property.
no, I don't think so. I think that Rebecca and Zach dug it there, because remember, he wanted it too close. Yeah, I guess I have to do him.
Well, we'll see if he actually orders. Okay. All right, so that's the list.
So how many is that total? That's 21, but that's including the 7.
Correct,
Person was 7, yeah.
correct.
Okay.
21 trees, 11 different properties. So a few multiples, which is good, is fine. All right, so we should talk about how we get these trees in the ground from here till then.
Yeah. Because this is a chance for us to take some of those admin things from you that we can.
Great. So 21 trees so far, hopefully we get more orders. I did place the order for 10 trees from PHS. I realized after the fact that one of them, I mixed up a species. I meant to be ordering a prunus, but I accidentally ordered pinus. So we do actually have one Virginia pine in the list, if anybody needs an evergreen.
Are they, most of them spoken for within what people have ordered?
I actually don't know yet.
Okay.
I haven't figured that out yet. So we'll keep taking orders, but I haven't talked to Tree Authority yet, if that's where we're gonna order our additionals, which
Okay.
I'm fine with because we know them, Jeff has worked with them, they get the trees there on time. But right now, I'm assuming that it'll be like last time and they only need a week to 10 days notice. But I'll get in touch with Hassan sooner than later. Okay, other things we need to do,
Let's look at a calendar while we're doing this, because it's sort of an odd, it's just a time that has a lot. Okay, so April 12th.
So I think it makes sense to work backwards from planting day.
Yeah.
Okay. So on planting day, as usual, we will need the garage, please, Jeff. Oh, Jeff, I forwarded the email with the invoice from PHS, and they said, that face doesn't look like that looks familiar to you.
I didn't get it. Did you send that to me or?
I thought so. Well, I won't dig through my emails right this moment, but I'll make sure you get it
Okay.
again.
Okay, so April 12th, we've got a shade tree meeting on the 1st. Okay, so it's gonna be the last week in March that we start with stuff.
So planting day, we'll need the garage again.
That's the 12th.
We will need breakfast stuff again, which we can authorize in our March meeting.
Wait, today's March, right?
Sorry, our
That's now.
April meeting.
April, okay. That's March.
So these things, got it, keep going.
Usually the night before or 2 nights before, I round up all of the volunteer signups and assign the volunteer teams to each tree location.
Okay.
So that's like,
That's it,
say we'll say 4:10 on that one.
okay. And we do that because we're waiting to see if more volunteers will sign up, is that mostly you're thinking that?
No, just to try to get everything figured out beforehand. I usually shut off the volunteer form a few days beforehand because frankly to discourage walk-ins because they're frequently hard to find a job for at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So really though, what I guess the point I'm making is as soon as the volunteer signups are done, any time between the volunteer signups being closed and, you know, like the night before or 2 nights before. So, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay,
We like to be digging holes the week leading up to, and usually you want 2 weeks, right?
No, 1 week is good.
oh, really?
Depending on the number of trees.
1 week before planting day, you're
Yeah.
finished, or 1 week before planting day you start?
1 week before plant day we start.
So
Okay.
the weekend of the 5th,
I think
from
so.
between,
yeah.
somewhere between the 5th and the 12th,
Yeah,
planting?
yeah.
Okay. So where does that put the PA? Is that the next thing, Rick, PA1 calls?
Yeah,
Distribute signs?
No, that's
Well-
before.
they're kind of,
Yeah, that's sign,
they're
yeah.
frequently at the same time,
Okay,
but
yeah.
ideally, signs earlier in
Signs,
time
and then
than
the
one
PA
calls.
one call, right, yeah.
Okay, so PA1 calls are 2, or should we say 14 days? Okay.
One calls, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, if this rings a bell to you. I feel like the one call requests have to go in a minimum of 3 days prior to digging. And that's like minimum and
Yeah.
cutting it close for you and all of the locators.
Yeah, it'd be best to give them at least 7 days or so, just to
So,
get it out there.
something like.
But is
the
there
28th of
any
March?
too early time for that, Jeff? Like what they say, oh,
It's like a
don't do
month,
it?
I think.
Oh, is it a full month?
I'm pretty sure that,
What you'll run into is your start date,
Okay,
because the paint will only last so long, so if it starts to
Okay.
bleed in too long, then the folks will have to come back out and spray it.
okay,
Regardless of if you can still see the paint or the markings by, PA law, they still have to come back out.
okay, got it. So, but that's for the digging of the hole, not the planting of the tree, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay,
So I'm writing down PA1 call should be done by 3/28.
so that is 2,
That's 2 full weeks before planting day, 1 week before hole digging begins.
okay, great.
And generally, the way the responses come into my email about the one calls, it looks like they're generally handled in order of submission. So if we get a very late tree order, like we can still usually get it in, they'll just be like, we might not get their one call until the last minute and the hole dug until the last minute.
do they want to come out and do those utility markings? Like, do they want everything at once, or we can do one at a time? Like,
We can do one at a time.
it's probably more efficient for them if they
No,
want
it's
to work
not.
at the same time.
I think so.
I would think, yeah.
I mean, I think, Jeff, you probably would just group them
Yeah,
in a day or two anyway.
those guys are here every single day.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, that must be frustrating.
In PA last year, I know this guy is the chair of PA1 call, is in a public works association that I'm in. Jim Reynolds said last year there was 1,030,000 PA1 calls. In
And
the
a
5
million of
county
them were
area here, we were more than a third of those calls, so Delco, Chester, Box, Mocko.
Wow,
Yeah, we average, 80 a month or so. It's all the digging, fencing, house
Yeah.
improvements,
Yeah.
just, that was great that, that the folks call in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
wow, that's interesting.
yeah.
So I realize, as we're cruising along here, I did skip one important
Oh, good.
one,
What's that?
and that's the tree order.
Oh, placing the tree authority order?
Yeah, the words didn't come out right.
That's all right.
But, if planting day is the 12th, and business days are Friday, then the 4th really would be like drop dead, but I'm gonna say April
I would
1st.
say April 1st, yeah.
But they they're delivered by the 11th or the 10th. Do you remember, Jeff, did we have tree authority come in the day before you went to get the PHS trees? I don't know why I thought that, because you had to sort of keep them someplace or something.
Yeah, I think they came in the day prior.
Yeah, and does that work okay for you? Oh, and what did you do, Jim? Did you and Mike, was it Mike who went with you? You got back with the PHS trees and you picked up the tree authority trees?
Jeff had someone just follow us with another.
Oh, you had it in a
Yeah.
separate,
So
got
they
it, got it.
Yeah.
That's probably better. I think, I like that, Jeff, that's a.
You know, because then, when Mike and Jim are back in town, we load up our other truck with the mulch, the gator bag, so we're dropping off everything.
Yeah,
So
that
the
makes sense.
folks in the garage can just go to their assigned site.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Clockwork. Really
Well-oiled machine, yeah.
Okay, so the tree authority order is placed 10 days, approximately 10 days before.
Yeah. And if you're keeping a running list, I forgot to say, we just talked about it, but pick up the trees, the PHS trees.
Yeah, we gotta find that, that's the day before.
Yeah,
It could be 2 days before, but I think it works better for you, all right, to have it the Friday.
The only thing that means, that helps us is the earlier in the day, whatever time slots
Yeah.
are 8,
Yeah.
9 a.m. are ideal for us.
Yeah, I forget when we get that email, but let's incorporate that in here too.
So we have not, just picked a slot yet for?
No, they send us an email much closer to the date.
Okay.
The last few times, they've had like iffy things going on with where they can do the distribution. But okay, I just wanted to be sure we have picking up trees.
Yeah.
Picking up trees is day before. Okay. Day before, and then receiving tree authority is 2 days before.
all right, so ideally, before we do the one calls, we wanna have signs distributed.
Right.
And really, if we're divvying up meetings with residents,
that's
we
good,
should
yeah.
just start taking signs with us.
Good point, yeah.
But I'm still gonna put sign delivery,
Is that gonna be 2 weeks before planting day? Or the
Well-
digging
Well,
holes?
the PA1 calls are 3:28.
Oh, right.
Before that.
Yes,
so
yes.
Earlier in that week.
yeah, let's say 3/24
Yep.
start.
Yeah.
Okay, so signs delivered 3/24.
I'm jotting
Which-
my notes before one call.
How many days did you give it before one call?
4.
2, yeah, 4.
Okay, 4 days.
And before all that, it's just like this running around of meeting with the homeowners, trying to push trees, find locations. And the only other big thing that's coming to mind is getting the
Yeah.
call for volunteers out.
And how we should, what have you found? Does that need to be repeated for a couple of weeks?
I usually try to do it about a month beforehand. Last time when we only had, I think, 15 trees, I actually waited till much
that's
closer
right.
to the date because I didn't want to have too many volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I mean, we're over 20 trees now. Hopefully we'll get to 30-ish. And my general rule of thumb that I think pretty much works is one person per tree. And of course, you're actually in teams, but a team of 3 plants 3 trees, and that's a pretty good day for most people.
Call for volunteers goes out 1 month before planting day.
Yeah.
Oh, and we should just make a note here that Dawn, or the person at whatever time, who's ever using this timeline, is, now it's Dawn, is, you know, checking with her diggers and setting them up. So that might be, I mean, I guess that could be 1 month before, or 3 weeks before, I guess she can decide. I just don't want to be missing a big thing like that.
Right, that's good.
Diggers are confirmed. Okay. What else? Day of, oh, breakfast, we have that. The tool check, should I note, Jeff, that within 2 weeks of the, or 1 week of the event? I'm just trying to make like sort of an evergreen thing here. Is that when we would check that our
Yeah.
tool? Okay, so I'm gonna say that's 1 week before. 1 to 2 weeks before. Where the heck are the pounders?
There's at least one on my porch at the moment.
There's
At
always
least.
one on your porch, in my memory.
One on my porch, one in my trunk. If you ever need those, let me know.
Okay. Is there any other thing that we can think of? Oh, didn't we do sort of a notification to the borough council members, thanking them for their support and letting them know? So when would
After.
we do that? Would that be 1 week? Oh, that's after?
Usually after, so that we can report, you know, this many
Oh,
volunteers
okay.
showed up, we planted this many trees,
Okay.
no one lost a toe.
Oh, you know what, I just thought of another thing, those forms that, I just got an email from Mia Fox at PHS regarding those forms, and we had a snafu with that the last time around, so.
Mm.
Oh, and you know what, I think they come with the treats when you go to get them from PHS, I'm pretty sure, or did you tell me, Jim, last time they didn't, it's like the volunteer sign-in sheet, and did that come with the
Yeah.
ties? Oh, it did, okay.
Yeah.
So that's something I don't want to miss.
It has waivers too, if we want to.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the planting event form. All of it, okay. Yeah, because we are supposed to have all of our volunteers register on the PHS, where are we now, 6 weeks out?
Yeah, roughly.
So I think this, because it's saying here due, okay, so it's due a month before, so we need to add that in, 6 weeks out, or as we, how should we say this? When we're recruiting volunteers, we should probably provide this link. This isn't really clear to me.
In the past, PHS has said you can use, they really pushed their volunteer hub,
That's what, yeah,
and then they kind of backed off of it, and I remember they asked in a separate form, are you gonna use volunteer hub or use your own thing?
yeah,
And we've always used our own thing,
okay.
and I think we've been hit or miss with reporting to them afterwards.
Yeah, that's the key that we need to.
So call for volunteers a month out.
Okay,
Still going backwards in time from planting day,
yeah,
somebody has to actually receive the email from PHS. Right now, I think you and I get it. I don't know if the borough also gets it, but right now you and I also get it. And then review the species list.
yeah. Oh, my page has gotten really messy.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you just said, Rebecca?
Review the species list.
Okay.
So that's about 2.5 months, isn't it? Not more like 10 weeks from planting day?
Yeah, usually. I mean, I think it came out January 10th this year, something like that.
And it's usually like August for the November. October, September, I think it's, I guess October, September plus a week. Yeah, so it is probably 8 to 10 weeks in advance of planting day is when we get the order form.
Eight to 10 weeks?
Yeah. Remember how we got it in January?
Right,
We usually get it in August for the following.
right, that's more than 8 to 10 weeks then.
Well, if you go back all of March, all of February, half of January. So maybe it's 10 to 12
More like
weeks.
3 months.
Yeah. Maybe we say 12 weeks. That's better. And the other thing that happens then is we've learned from experience, Rick, and this is why we've had this new approach of getting a standard assortment of trees and ordering them right away, because we found when we waited to find out what people wanted, they would be out of them.
Yeah.
So that means that we would respond to PHS, what, would we say?
Whatever it's due.
No, before it's due.
Yeah, before it's due.
So that might,
I'm looking through my emails trying to figure out when did they actually get in touch with us first. It was this year it was January 14th
okay,
for an April 12th. So that is 3 whole months.
And then the order form was due on February 11th, I have written down.
Yes, correct. So order as soon as possible. But the point I was getting at earlier was receive the PHS email, review the list of species that they have available, whittle it down, and then update our order form.
Tina's actually typing, that's good, because this is a mess. I can look at it and see if anything.
Okay, I'm putting it in the spring planting timeline. I put in
Okay,
there.
great, thank you.
But basically, we generally offer everything except anything non-native.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about like the river birch? It seems, what if we know that seems like a pretty specific type and temperamental. Like if we know it's not going to do well on a certain property, should we just wait? Like I see Pam Kim has that, but I don't think there's any spot on her property where that would be, for example, be appropriate.
Two questions. One, I wouldn't necessarily dissuade river birch. It's a pretty adaptable tree. Depending where her downspouts are too, it could be a good tree.
Okay,
She may have a wet spot
So
in
we
the
should
yard
just make
somewhere.
sure, okay.
But it is a good point, Christina, because some of the tree species, like river birch, not a good tree for planting like in the planting strip. So that's part of why the spreadsheet is so insane. Because when I ask that question, like, is the tree gonna be within 10 feet of a sidewalk? If the answer is yes, it goes to a section where river birch is not an option.
Oh, great,
So
okay.
it's a lot more
And it does
upfront
that for
work,
every
but
single individual, I'm trying to remember, every single individual tree? Do you know, or if you're ordering multiple, does it know, like, what if I'm doing one in the sidewalk, between the sidewalk and one that's in the backyard?
that's one of the flaws of the order form. You have to go back and do it a second time if some of your answers are different.
Okay, okay. You know,
But that's the idea, is to try to
weed those
make the
out. No,
order
that's
form
great.
select.
Yep.
And as we go through this process, like, this is the way we've done it since we started trying to like automate everything and make it more of a step-by-step system. But I'm certainly open to suggestions or changes or better ways to do things.
I mean, it's helpful to have this whole list and then just say how many weeks out each thing has to happen, because then you just go through your list and you know.
Well, also, as I'm thinking about this, I do feel good about us divvying up the individuals so we can have conversations with people. Because it could be that they're like, oh yeah, I want a river birch between the street and the sidewalk. And then we can have an actual look in your eyes conversation or a phone call, whatever, with the people.
So between now and the next meeting, if a lot more orders come in, you want to just like, if you see them, just pick one of us and say, can we talk to this person if they ask?
Yeah, I mean, I generally know where the five of us live, so I do try to
Yeah.
just go by somebody nearby.
Yeah,
And that job should probably be, should
So,
mention that job.
I mean, all this stuff, you know, takes some management.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's-
and that's why we
that's
want
part of
all
it
of it
too.
captured, because if capturing just some of it, then it's not a useful timeline.
Yeah,
Has to incorporate everything. As Bettina's clicking away. Jim, I just wanted, I found the list of times available for tree pickup. Is 8:30 too early?
It's
'Cause
a
you-
little early.
Yeah. So, remember last time, was it 9:30? There's a 9:30 to 10?
9:30 is good. I mean,
Okay,
it's,
because we don't know where the
should ask
pickup would
Jeff
be.
when-
Well, I know Jeff prefers early, so I just don't
I'm
know.
here at 5:45
Okay.
in the morning, so
You want
if there's a
8:30?
slot at 6. I'll take it.
8:30 is fine, I can be there at 8:30. Can't do that.
Are you sure?
Sure, yeah.
Even though we don't know where we're going yet, if it's the Navy Yard?
Hopefully it's the same spot it's been.
I know, it's been that a couple of
The
times now.
cemetery.
Mhm.
Yeah, the cemetery.
That's much closer.
Okay, so now I don't know what to write. Should I,
You can take whatever's the earliest, it's fine.
okay, so we'll say 8:30.
Okay.
Oh, and then this task needs to be included in the timeline.
picking up the
Schedule,
trees. and-
schedule the pickup time.
Bettina, what document are you in one of our Google Drive shared
I
documents?
am. I'm in the one that I started that called Spring Planting Timeline. I'm just adding to the end of it with a list here of what we're talking about.
Thank you.
Did you say there were only gonna be about 10 to pick up on that day though? Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, as it is right now, unless like, sometimes PHS lets you make updates late in the process. I think they gave a deadline for that that's already passed. But if it works out that they have more of something that we've ordered available, it wouldn't hurt to ask. But yeah, I would imagine 10 or not much more.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but this looks like a pretty good list. If you want to be specific to advertising, Borough Blast,
Oh, yeah.
Has that changed at all? Does anybody know? Has Kelsey changed the day she wants to get stuff for, has anybody heard a change with that? Okay, so it's like you have to have it to them by Tuesday. Is that still right?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll send her an email.
All right. I know Bettina is fine tuning, but I don't want all of us to keep staring at the list for too long, holding up the meeting.
Sounds good.
Let's come back to the letter to homeowners, which I appreciate you guys working on. The reason I wanted to bring it to the meeting was two things. One, going through the timeline just
Yeah.
helped us figure out when our end of applications date should be.
Yep.
Which I don't know if we actually put that in the list.
I put, yeah, April 1st, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and actually for the letter then, let's make it March, whatever the last day in March is.
Okay.
And also, I thought for the letter, it should go out on Shade Tree Commission, paper with the header, and I saw you had that. But I also thought if something is gonna go out with the Shade Tree Commission logo, we should probably approve it in meeting.
Okay.
Where did that go? Good.
Do you think it otherwise looks okay though?
I was just gonna ask everybody to just, I did look at it earlier, but I do wanna just read it one more time real quick and give everybody
Yep.
a chance.
Oh, great.
Yes, spent forever.
There's one phrase that reads a little awkwardly,
Okay.
and it's very possible you copied it from something that I wrote.
Okay, tell me.
I guess it's third paragraph, the one that starts with our next planting day is April 12th. The last sentence, if you are interested in receiving a tree planted on your property,
To be planted.
it feels like a tree, it feels like we either do receive or planted.
If you're
Does that
interested in
sound
receiving,
awkward?
oh, I see, in having a tree planted on your property.
Yeah,
Oh,
having a tree, that sounds good.
Thank you.
Yes, perfect.
So this is something else to add to the list also. If we're gonna include the list of available species, that'll have to be updated every planting,
Yeah,
if we wanna keep using the letter.
yeah.
Right.
That's nice.
But this is good.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you, Bettina.
All right, so I do think I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this letter as revised. Do I hear a second?
I second.
All right, Carson, you're taking the minutes, so you can decide which one of you two actually gets the second.
Oh, did somebody else second? Well, I was finding a clean sheet.
And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Good.
So I would say, I mean, one thing I was thinking about is if we like distribute this to people who we think we've looked at their property, they can use trees, should we keep track of who we give it to, just so we have a list, so we don't like bombard somebody, or just so we can know that we've contacted them specifically? It'd be helpful to keep a list of
It's probably a good idea.
who's
So
gotten.
maybe we'll make a note and then.
And then maybe we can just create a document and you can just add the addresses if you.
Oh, okay.
if you
Or the
need to.
street, like, this, the 200 blocks of it.
Right, right, so we're not duplicating.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay,
Okay. Wow, that was good. I think we accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
That's good. Into a better situation here. Now that it's 8:36, oh my gosh. Well, this is always our busiest.
Yeah.
Do we have a meeting,
This is
we have
good.
one meeting before the.
Yeah. All right, anything else about spring planting?
Nope.
so in terms of the things that need to be done between now and the next meeting, the PA1 calls and the tree authority list,
And a call for volunteers
and for volunteers.
and the organizing of volunteers. Oh, no, organizing of volunteers can be after our next meeting.
Right. Are we gonna divide up those
I think,
tasks?
well, I don't know. I mean, what do people think about, you know, talk about your own experiences with stuff? Do we want to have types of duties and people taking them over? Do we want to have one person go being Rick and going crazy? Like taking the whole shebang, but then not doing it for another 4 times or something? I don't know the best way. What do you think from, it's
I
a
would
lot
prefer
of
to-
stuff.
It's a lot. I would prefer to split it up and just
I
say,
agree.
this person do this.
I mean, Rick, since you seem to have the most on your plate for planting,
Yeah.
is there any part of that, the one calls or anything that you would want to offload?
The thing, I don't mind doing the one calls because it's kind of a weird thing. I've done it a few times. It's not that bad for me anymore. The thing that usually, not exactly falls through the cracks, but it did last time actually, was doing the close to planting day volunteer management.
Yeah,
The looking at who are the volunteer teams. They also usually make requests, like, I only have time to plant
Right.
2 trees, or
Right.
I'm not getting there till 10 and I have to
Right.
leave at 11.
I'm bringing my 4-year-old.
Mhm.
Yes, I can only do north side. So that actually is a little more work sometimes
Yeah.
than you
Okay.
expect to.
Mhm.
So that's one that could be offloaded.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that could be clustered with sending the call for volunteers. What are the other volunteer-related things?
Those are it, right? I mean, everything that goes for recruiting volunteers is pretty similar to
Yeah,
the, putting word out for tree planting.
And
We put the volunteer, we make a new link for volunteers to sign up.
oh,
It
right,
goes to a spreadsheet, we post that link in the Borough Blast.
that's
We
right.
post that on Facebook, we list that, you know, in our neighbor groups or wherever. So that's a whole bunch of, it's a second round of outreach.
Yeah,
So we create a
So-
Google sheet for signing up, volunteer signups? Okay. Do we,
Yeah.
oh, I assume we have one of those somewhere we can look at.
Many of those too, yeah.
And so getting the volunteers and then managing them, when
Yeah.
they, do they contact you because you're blasting out the email? Is that how how are you getting all the emails with is it your email in the Google Drive?
It starts by, I make a new Google sign up form, which I don't actually usually make a new one since that one doesn't change. The
Mhm.
trees change with the different species.
Mhm.
I usually just copy a new one forward for the
Okay.
next planting. So we would make a new one for spring 25, but it would be the same. I would just change the header message, which lists the date and sometimes details. So you update the header message, but otherwise, it's the same form. I then usually email it out to all of our past volunteers. There is a giant spreadsheet in there somewhere with a long list of volunteers, names, email addresses, and phone numbers. I always blind copy everybody except Shade Tree Commission members, because I don't want to get in trouble sharing people's email addresses with the entire town. So we email that list. We usually email the email address list from everyone that's ever ordered a tree. We put it in the Borough Blast and post it to the different Narberth related Facebook communities. So that's, I think, 5 places that I try to always send it out. Then I also share with like our Woodside Avenue neighbors list and encourage everybody to share it anywhere. Then those volunteers signups start rolling in. When we get closer to planting day or whenever you turn off the signups, I go through the list. Like I said, I look at everybody's weird requests and where they want to help and how long, and try to figure out which trees in the order make sense for each of those volunteer teams. Remind me too to talk about Jim's delivery list in a minute. We're not ready to move on. So that I look at what volunteers go to what trees and I try to pre-assign them. Sometimes that means I take the giant volunteer spreadsheet that gets created from the Google form, which includes lots of stuff that's important to get their information, but you don't need it for planting day. Like, we ask them, how many shovels do you have? How many spades do you have? So that we know, do we have enough tools for everybody? Most people are bringing their own tools now, which is nice, but we still ask. We ask how old they are, we ask them for their cell phone number, and we ask who is going to be their team leader. So all of that stuff does sometimes go into consideration of who's getting what location, but most of it's not that important for planting day. So then frequently before planting day, I make a simplified list with the name of the volunteer team leader and then the location of the trees. So I usually give each volunteer team a number and a team leader name. So last year there was a team Beller, team 3, Beller. And they had 3 trees to plant, so 3 different addresses. And I make copies of those lists to hand out to the volunteers. We also always have to figure out who are like the singles or odd job people. Council member Ira usually volunteers, so he frequently gets stake pounding job by himself, but they also need trees assigned to them. So that's often another list that gets made from the volunteer information.
Wow. Thank you for doing all of this for all these
What
years.
was the last thing you said?
Wow.
Figuring out the
That's a lot of work.
single or odd job people.
Oh, okay.
So who's gonna pound the stakes? Do they have a pounder? Who's gonna spread mulch? Who's gonna tie the trees? Sometimes Ira or the singles can do all of that. In the past though, when mulch was being delivered, it was also like a step-by-step multi-team process. So that is a little different every time depending on how mulch is getting delivered and who signs up and what are we doing. Like if we have no singles, the teams that are planting the trees can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when people show up and they say it's just me and I need a job, we separate those jobs for them to do it.
Okay,
That's amazing.
yeah, so that's almost more complicated when there's, right? So you're taking you're telling the people who are in the groups planting the trees, but don't mulch.
Well, we did that
Because-
one year though, Todd
Yeah.
and I drove around with the
And
mulch and we just
I
mulched
remember
all those.
Right.
That was fun,
Yeah.
we loved that job.
Okay, so,
Got to see everything.
okay.
And it's easy to tell people not to do the stakes, because if they
Yeah.
don't have a stake pounder,
They
they
can't,
can't do
Yeah,
it.
just plant the tree and then
Okay.
we're done.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's a lot.
It is a
So-
lot.
It's a lot,
So
Yeah.
yeah,
how can we do that? I think then that would be a thing that we should
Yeah.
take from you.
Yeah,
did too.
for sure.
The one thing I would be hesitant to do is the sharing with the Facebook. I'm not really on Facebook, so sharing that information.
Do you have a Facebook?
I do,
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I've got like 5 friends. I don't use it, but I
Yeah.
have it.
but I mean, I've been meaning to delete it, like, so.
I think Dawn uses it, we may do that.
Okay, so we could
She would
ask
do
her.
that.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, I'm not social media savvy at all.
So,
But for the other stuff, I'm definitely happy to create the form and send out the email to, I don't think, I'm looking in the folder with the giant spreadsheet of all the previous volunteers, and I don't see that in there, so. I just have individual ones for various days, but I don't see.
Jim.
I see a
one, I
Not
think
exactly.
one of these
I've closed it.
has multiple tabs.
Oh, do you see anything?
I know, it's been doing that for like the last half hour. Bettina, there's one called STC Volunteer Contact Information.
Okay.
It doesn't have a year on it.
Mhm.
And tab Form Responses 1
Okay,
is like a list from all time,
gotcha.
back to 2016.
Okay, well, maybe we need to go through, I mean, are there duplicates in here, or,
Probably.
okay,
I had asked the previous administration if we could get access to MailChimp or some of their management tools.
mhm,
We never quite got there, and that's something to talk to Maggie about sometime. But yeah,
okay.
it's a lot of spreadsheets.
Thank you, Jim. What, do you know what my error was?
You didn't, I don't know, it's just, I just deselected and reselected.
So,
Thank you.
the form responses number 1 tab, that is everybody? That's the
Yeah,
one with
and
everybody? Okay. And after a certain point, you just stop putting the dates on there?
looks like,
Okay,
and so I don't know when's the last time I've updated it. It's probably the last 2 plantings or so probably aren't in here, based on some of these names at the bottom that I know.
and the names that are highlighted?
One of them is Peter Grove. I could have highlighted his name for any number of reasons.
Well, you know, he's having some health issues now, so.
I do know that. Some of them, like there's one that I see that's in red that volunteered and then didn't show up.
Mm.
There's one that's in red that was a great volunteer but moved away. A few of those actually.
So I need to clean up this list.
Yeah, yeah, and generally, when I start sending out the mass emails, usually there's 1 or 2 responses, like I've moved away, can you take me off the list? And I try to do a pretty good job of that, but I have so many spreadsheets and duplicates.
Yeah,
I just do a general search at the top level of Sheets or the top level of Google Drive, and I usually get them, but
mhm,
there've been a couple people that are probably frustrated with me. But before we forget, there is one other task I usually do leading up to delivery of the trees. Jim has discovered, or developed, I shouldn't say discovered, it didn't appear to you. Jim has realized that it's much easier to get the right trees to the right addresses if he color codes them. The trees that we get from PHS frequently come with a tag on them that just has a Latin name, which is not always super helpful. So when he gets to the yard, he tags them with a different colored yarn or tape or something.
If necessary, often they're already are tagged uniquely, but sometimes, yeah, it pays to check them in and count them. just inventory them, make sure they're all a unique color, yeah.
So I try to make him a simplified list of species to address, because the way the spreadsheet, like, you know, it's a crazy spreadsheet, but also it's not always clear if one address orders more than one tree, we need to make a simplified list that says, you know, this address is getting 2 of these, 2 of these, 2 of these. And to try to make it as easy as possible so these guys aren't driving back and forth across the borough.
Right.
I try to make that list divided by north side and south side, and to put it in order of a sensible route around the borough.
That's a lot of work, okay.
Well, I'm thinking that this could be, it sounds to me like we have volunteers, you know, getting volunteers, managing volunteers. And I think there's the, you know, organizing the information about which trees we're planting, right? And then, you know, getting the tree authority thing on time, making sure Jeff knows, like, that feels like, I don't know what we would call that, tree management. You know what I mean? Or what are we calling that part? Because I think to mush it with the volunteers, you know,
It's too much, yeah.
there's, you know, there's 5 of us on the commission. Like, I'd be willing to do that group of tasks, but I should confirm what that is, what that cluster of tasks is. Or is it kind of monitoring, because those tasks could be the hole diggers are confirmed, the tools have been checked, so maybe that would be, what would we call that? Am I not making sense, or are we all just brain dead?
I'm sorry, are you talking about the
I think-
volunteer task?
No,
or
I'm
the-
talking
the
about
tree
making the
manage-
volunteer
Okay.
task, one
So
person.
Bettina's got, and I'm happy to
Bettina
help
would
you with
manage
it.
that.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I feel like we need to have we need to
Delivery
group
day?
some tasks that would all be related to make sure the list of trees is organized in such a way that it's useful to the people who are, you know, getting this stuff to the addresses.
I feel like whatever you call that,
Yeah,
I will keep doing that one.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
simplified list for distribution, I feel like if I'm doing the one calls,
okay,
I should also just do the distribution list, because if one person is just like in it with the addresses
Yeah,
and what
right.
tree is going where.
right,
Usually, like the day before planting day, I feel like I almost know exactly what tree is
Yeah,
going
right.
where, because there's so many different iterations of
Yep.
of figuring out these different documents.
okay, so you'll continue to do
Yeah, I'll
all of
keep that.
those things. Okay,
But I think you and I could share, or you could offer
Okay.
some of those.
Okay.
If you do get too many questions, or
Mhm.
the day of, like,
Mhm.
just
yeah, that's a good idea.
organizing the volunteers.
Yep.
I think that's
I'll-
smart.
I'll take the
Okay.
lead on that, and I need help on that.
And, you know, we're gonna learn.
Yeah.
We learn every time, right? Okay,
And over the course of the next 6 weeks, we're probably gonna remember more little things.
Mhm.
So we all have access to edit this document, right?
Yep.
We should not make a mess of Bettina's work, but add things where
Exactly.
there's,
The top,
where we
very
remember
messy
things.
stuff.
okay, that's good. Wow, good, I'm really glad we did that, thanks, everybody. That's been, you know,
Yep.
I'm on mine for a long time.
Okay, I'll
Where's the agenda?
ask again anything else about spring planting at the moment.
Gosh.
Okay, we'll move on. The next item on the agenda was the downtown tree plan. I don't imagine there are any maps here at the moment anyway, but
They're working on merging, you know, our current, you know, downtown to, you know, the map when the downtown was redone just so the tree pits are all there and it reflects the elm being there and everything is accurate, so.
Okay.
I should have that hopefully by end of week, if not early, just like calling it a week. I did talk to our engineers on my ride home today, so.
Okay. Well, being that it's nearly 9, I don't think I was gonna have the energy to go through that all anyway, so,
Yeah, really.
so that's fine.
Are there any crucial things? I thought winter pruning got taken off. Oh, well. We're gonna just delete that from,
Well, if there's nothing to discuss, that's fine.
oh, you know what? I did want to ask regarding the code enforcement materials. Did you have a task on your list, Christina? Were you gonna check with Kelsey?
No, I was just gonna email it to Jeff,
Oh, okay.
and so let me do that.
Well, I have something actually for Jeff for code enforcement. It's not specifically code enforcement materials, but I was contacted by a South Side neighbor concerned about a couple potentially dead trees on Marion Avenue near the construction site.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know if they're on the construction site. Each one is on the Marion frontage, and they're honestly like on either side of the construction site,
Okay.
depending on where the actual survey markers are. One of them is completely covered in vines.
both of them are. Both
One
of
of
them, I
them-
like it.
You're
Are
right.
they like two big cherries? Is that-
No, they're Norway maples.
Oh.
I don't know what
But they were
they
the
don't
ones
have
that
leaves
she
now, so-
said she wanted to have counted toward the number of trees they have to have on the property.
I don't know if they are those trees specifically.
Okay, I'll stop talking.
But, no, don't stop talking, that's a good point. Because if they did count, if they are on the construction site and they counted them as preserved trees and they die during construction due to construction activities,
Right,
then they should have to replace them,
okay, good.
our ordinances.
Great, that's excellent.
At the moment, I'm most concerned that the neighbors are concerned that it's a hazard.
Okay.
So I wanted to just bring that up to you and you can do with it what you do.
Yeah, it's really, they're plugging along. Okay,
I may just be forgetting, but looking at tonight's minutes, it looked like the code enforcement materials were going to go through a couple more sets of eyes. Jim, Maggie.
Oh, okay,
What's this in reference to?
yeah, okay.
You may recall a discussion quite a few months ago at one of the committee of council meetings, maybe you weren't there actually, in response to some residents receiving code enforcement warnings about tree pruning and
Oh.
vegetation. The Shade Tree Commission, mostly Christina, prepared some informational and educational materials that could be pinned onto those code enforcement hang tags. So that if somebody gets a notice that your trees need to be limbed up, they have some resources or know to contact us before they just go hacking at their trees. Some information about how to prune, or at least contact the Shade Tree Commission if you have questions about how to do this. And we looked at them at our meeting, and I think that we were okay with them, and we said, let's move these on, let's have Jim or a council committee look at them, send them to Maggie, and move them along.
I would love to, but I think that goes to Jean's committee, the public health and safety.
Well, this is excellent timing, because Jean texted me last night. There is a health and safety committee coming up, I think, a week from Friday. So she asked if we would have any updates, and I said, let me do our meeting tonight, and I'll get back to you.
I
So-
can attend that one.
Okay.
After this week, my life is gonna be a lot less crazy. Well, really, after
You wish,
Monday.
Carson.
Yeah, right. No, this is a highly unusual time right now.
So that would be Friday the 14th.
Friday the 14th, and is it like at 8 in the morning, or is it in the, no, maybe it's more like 10,
It's 10.
10 a.m.
So with those meetings, we do meet the week prior to discuss the agenda items.
Okay,
So if there's something you wish to be included in the packet, and, you know, if we could get it by Friday, end of day,
this Friday.
yes.
Okay.
So should I send it to you, Jeff, and Jean? Is that who?
Who makes the packets? Kelsey?
It's a joint effort, so if you just want to send it to me,
Great.
and, you know, copy who you wish.
Okay, so we've all looked at it and said to send along, so I'll just send it to Jeff.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we can refer to it as like final draft or something like
Okay.
that. All right, so Carson will attend. Christina will send the code enforcement material and will also provide an update on the spring planting.
Yes.
Anything else anyone thinks we should update that committee on? Okay.
Okay.
All right, there's nothing on the agenda for subdivision and land development. No expenses tonight unless,
Do we need
When's
to
our next
approve
meeting?
our expenses for snacks for the volunteers, or you're saying we do that in April?
we can do that in April,
Okay,
but with our new handy dandy list, our next meeting is when?
Well, it's April, and I have here March 31st payment due to PHS.
That one we approved.
Okay.
We approved expense not to exceed. I was more wondering about tree authority.
oh, we approved that last meeting, because remember it was, we approved up to $1,500.
That
Oh,
was for
PHS.
PHS.
So I think we do need to approve,
So tree authority, we're gonna place the order on April 1st. Our
next meeting.
meeting is April 1st.
4th. Oh, no, 1st,
Yeah.
sorry.
So our meeting is April 1st, so we'll submit the order to tree authority that day. We probably will not even have an invoice yet, but we'll know then how many trees we actually need.
Okay,
So let's punt that expense until April
Okay.
1st. And if for some reason we don't have a quorum, we will need to organize a special meeting just to approve that.
Okay.
So let's make sure we have a quorum that night, or tell me as soon as possible.
yeah, really. Oh, you know,
Okay, so no expenses tonight. Winter pruning is just kind of hanging out there. I think next month we could talk about, well, we'll see what the weather is like. I don't think we're gonna do a spring pruning, but we can talk about it.
I mean, if we had a lot of
Anything-
extra volunteers, it could be part, although just season-wise, it wouldn't be a good idea to do too much.
It's not ideal,
Mm-hmm.
but I also feel to a certain extent, when we have volunteers willing to do it is ideal.
Yep. Okay.
So we'll see. Let's talk about it next month a
Yeah,
bit. Website, anything?
I'm going to include that email. I mean, there's not much to include, but I will just send that link. Can I send that file, the PDF of the
To-
species list? It
Yeah.
is one, great. Sorry, that has been on my list. Jeff, I just sent you that, and yeah, I'll just include that, because right now, it just goes to an old meeting cancellation from July. So, yeah, now, which is different, it used to at least like give a description of us, so that got changed, so I need to, now I really need to change it.
How about also posting the letter to homeowners? Does that make sense?
The citation, oh, that, sure, yeah.
Except we would have to modify it, because it says, like, we've identified your property as being able to accommodate a tree or something, so maybe just
Could
take
we
that out.
Just welcoming,
Post it, even if we don't modify the letter, could we post it with like a brief description saying, you know, you may receive this letter, or you may not, but feel free to use the link, or,
do you want it to be more of just a call to action? We're here to help you plant trees or something like, so, just so that people, you know, get people to plant trees and, do you, I mean, or just-
I would just, you could use the letter, just leave out the first line. Just take, do everything except this. That's
do
just
I
it.
want to, but do I want people, do we want to give them a link, or do we just want to include that on the page? I'm saying maybe include it on the page because we don't really have any other content on the page, rather than, do you know what I'm saying? Okay,
Sure.
and we can just have all, I mean, that would be what we have on our website right now.
Mhm.
Okay, great. I'll do it,
Okay.
yeah. Let's do it.
great. I left Park and Rec master plan on there in case there was any update. I don't have a real update, I think it's still in the final comment period, but I could be wrong.
I couldn't get it to open on my laptop, it's funny. You know, because they posted it and they also advertise it. When I went on the link, I don't know what format it is.
All right, ooh, this actually reminds me, somebody did submit something to the general contact form the other day, and I think I saw it on my phone and couldn't open it right. So that's just a reminder for me to check on that. But communication, I think we've talked about at length tonight, really. Does anyone have anything else for the good of the order?
No.
And if not, do I hear a final motion?
Yes, I motion to conclude the meeting,
I'll second that.
9:07.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Thanks, everybody. Good meeting.
Yeah, we got a lot done.
Guys, nice work.
Just one question for you, Rick, about,